Lately, reading has been my favorite pastime, and I've read quite a bit this year. I'll be showing you some books I've read and some fun and cozy setups I've made for each book. So let's dive in. Currently, I'm using Archer & Olive's 8x8 square journal from last fall's collection, and it still has a way to go. Being filled out, I mean. While I don't have a month-to-month reading setup like most people, I just enjoy recording books that I've read this past year. They're still in order, but as I mentioned in the past, I would like to have a monthly setup for 2026. But for now, let's start with Fizzle Sprocket and Vortina, which is part of a series called Everybody Loves Large Chests. Now, Fizzle Sprocket is set in the same chaotic world, but instead of a bloodthirsty mimic, we follow Fizzy, a tiny gnome with very big dreams. Fizzy's an inventor who is determined to make something amazing, even if her creations constantly misfire, malfunction, or accidentally summon magical disasters. Fizzy is clever, optimistic, and a bit reckless for a gnome. This book feels a lot lighter in tone because it has that same Nevin Eliv energy. Lots of snark and unpredictable magic, with heart hidden beneath all of the chaos. It's about creativity, failure, and pushing forward even when everything literally blows up in your face. Fizzle Sprocket received a score of 19 points, and doing the math gave it a 4.75 star rating with my Nier book rating system. If you're new here or are curious about my Nier rating system, I'll link it in the cards above and in the description if you're interested in trying it out for yourself. The only category this book was lacking was the final point in emotion. While it checked off all the other boxes, something about it felt a little less emotional, and I think it was due to the more lighthearted story. Other than that, it was a really good read, and Vortina is actually the third book in the same series, and this book got a total of 18 points, receiving a 4.5 star rating due to its little lack of imagination and resonance. Not to give any spoilers or anything, but sometimes when you read nothing but fiction like me, you can see a few things coming in the story. Oh, and you'll see a quote that I added here on Vortina's page. I won't read it to you, but let's just say it caught me so off guard that I spit out my coffee one morning, and that doesn't happen very often. If you thought Fizzle Sprocket's book was chaotic, Vortina takes that energy and says, let's make it existential. Boxy is back, and now it's thinking and feeling even. The story digs deeper into what happens when a creature that wasn't meant to feel starts developing emotions and a sense of identity. There is still plenty of absurd humor, ridiculous battles, and morally questionable moments, but beneath all the chaos is this strange, thoughtful undercurrent about self-awareness and evolution. It somehow makes you root for the mimic while also being slightly terrified of it. This book is really dark, clever, and surprisingly emotional in that I can't believe I care about this murderous chest kind of way. But this series, I do want to warn you, has some trigger warnings, so I advise you to look into those if you're curious about reading the series. But if that kind of stuff doesn't bother you, then I think you'll enjoy this crazy and brutal fantasy series. By the way, quick side note, all of the items you see me using here will be listed down below, and none of them are affiliate links yet, but we are slowly growing. I want to take a second to thank you, and if you've been sticking around here on my channel, because changing my content from gaming to journaling was a very scary step, and having you all here is really appreciated and doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you so much for being here. It really does mean a lot. Anywho, the following book I read was Howell's Moving Castle by Diana Wayne Jones. And unfortunately, this was a big miss for me. I'm not sure if this is because I saw the movie first, but everything about it just didn't meet my expectations. The story was pretty much the same as the film, but I won't spoil it here. This got a 2 in narration, 3 in imagination, 2 in emotion, and 1 for resonance, giving this a 2.5-star rating. We follow Sophie, who has been cursed by a witch. In her search to break the spell, she stumbles into a moving castle of the great wizard Howell, who's dramatic, charming, and, to be honest, a total mess in some ways. What I do love about this book is how full of personality the castle has. The castle itself feels alive, the magic is whimsical and unpredictable, and not to mention, Sophie's quiet strength shines through everything, which is something I actually really enjoyed about the book compared to the movie. Also, I noticed Calcifer seems to be a bit more closed off. But if you like a book that is easy to get through and feels homey and heartfelt, this book is basically a warm hug in story form. It just didn't really hit home for me, was all. Let's talk about a book that is not only the slowest of slow burns, but the first 5-star read for me in 2025. Juniper and Thor, written and retold by Ava Raid. Everything about this book made me so curious, and yet had such a gothic, horrific surprise ending that had me floored. While there were times I found myself wondering if there really was magic in her world, this book kept me on my toes. This one's a darker fairy tale retelling, as I mentioned, and wow, it's beautifully haunting. We follow Marlinchen, daughter of a cruel magician who spent her life trapped under his control. She meets a ballet dancer who shows her a glimpse of the outside world, and that moment changes everything. The writing is really lush and gothic. It's also full of emotion and eerie atmosphere. It's a story about trauma, power, and reclaiming your life in a world that's tried to take it from you. It definitely leans dark, lots of heavy themes, but it's so lyrical and powerful that you can't help but be drawn into it. Also, more disclaimer warnings for this book, but I happen to fall for more of the darker themed stories, and this got a total of 20 points, giving this a 5-star read, while also being the first of our Grimoire of the Year candidates, which we will get to here soon. Yes. The League of Gentle Women and Witches by India Holton. This is the second book of what is now a trilogy, and I found this book to be so witty and hilarious. There's one character, I can't remember her name, unfortunately, but it's an older woman who has her dog stuffed and uses it to deflect weapons during a tea party, but still treats it as if it's alive despite how beat up it looks. If you love historical settings but wish they came with pirates, broomsticks, and witty banter, this one's for you. It's set in a world where proper Victorian ladies secretly practice magic, and our main character, Charlotte, is part of the Secret Witch League, determined to keep magic out of the wrong hands. The problem? Well, she accidentally ends up partnered with a charming partner who's everything her society tells her to avoid. This book is playful, romantic, and full of cheeky humor that I absolutely adore. And the dialogue sparkles, the pacing is breezy, and it's just pure fun from start to finish. It feels like Jane Austen and The Princess Bride had a mischievous magical baby. It's the perfect cozy read when you want something funny and flirty with just a dash of chaos. This got a total of 20 points, giving this another 5-star rating. Another great book to put up for the potential grimoire of the year. Oh, and speaking of The Princess Bride, this will be the final book rating for today. Now, I'm a 90s baby, and I fell in love with these kind of movies, and it's my favorite movie to this day, not to mention with The Never-Ending Story, Willow, and The Labyrinth with Mr. Bowie himself. Not me making a mental note to have a movie night. So The Princess Bride by William Goldman, it's framed like a fairy tale being told through generations, and it's full of adventure, sword fights, and impossible love with ridiculous quotable lines. We follow Buttercup and Wesley through everything from pirates to revenge plots to absurd duels, and the humor is just timeless. What makes this so special is that it is a balance of parody and sincerity. While it does make fun of fairy tales while still being one of the best ones ever told, I unfortunately found this book to be a bit meh. Again, I'm not sure if it's because I saw the movie first or if it's just lacking personality in the story and characters, but the number one thing I did love about this book was the narration, and it got a true 5-star from me. The imagination received a 2, emotional got a 2, and resonance got a 3. Doing all of the math, this book got a 2-star rating. It was just like the movie, but not as great. I know. How inconceivable. Let's flip to the Grimoire of the Year Hall of Fame and place Juniper and Thor and the League of Gentlemen Witches. These books are so opposite, but such great reads. I highly recommend. There are some books that I also wanted to update, such as checking off Juniper and Thor from my Maybe Reads, and adding The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid, and Forging Silver into Stars series by Bridget Kemmerer. Lastly, I have been reading some of these books off and on, and I want to add them to my Pick Up Again page. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, Quicksilver by Callie Hart, and The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holden, which is the first book of the Wisteria Society trilogy. If you made it this far, thank you so much for joining me in my reading adventures. I'm so glad I was able to experience 2 5-star reads. And speaking of favorite books, what are some of your top favorite reads? I could always use some great recommendations. Thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to me. And I will see you in the near future.